Welcome back to the LCS Academy powered by Verizon. I am here. I am so happy. I've been wearing a button-up shirt all day waiting for this moment, and I'm finally able to join the broadcast. My goodness, I've been just watching on my phone since my power has been fluctuating. And it's good to be here with you guys, and glad to provide some reinforcements. But speaking of reinforcements, I don't know if you're ready for it because we're going to have our first halftime show of the day.
Oh,
we're
still doing that. Okay.
I will say your halftime shows earlier were pretty good. Not gonna lie.
Okay.
I might have to take
just
some of
finding
those
stuff
ideas.
around my room and around my studio area and just putting
The
it on.
tic-tac-toe had me. The tic-tac-toe had me, especially because it was glitching and you were like going all over the screen.
Alright, hold on. My dog is licking my toes, so I have to show him off real quick.
Is that allowed on broadcast?
Yes. Shut up. Yes. Shut up. Yes. Dog. Oh, look at
The
the
first part
cheddar.
of the sentence. Cheddar, the best cheese you ever cheese.
Potato.
Okay.
Cheddar.
Alright,
It's
you
a
need to
good
stop licking
refresher.
me. You need to stop licking
Stop
me.
licking the toes. All right, those are for Belbeth. Those are for Belbeth.
Oh.
Anyway,
She doesn't even have toes. What are you talking about?
But I have toes.
Never even know. Anyways, we had a game that just happened, and I love that you said it in the cast, right? Like a vision game all along, and I think there was some serious strengths there, but to stray away from those strengths, to stray away from the pattern, we're gonna go ahead and play a little bit of a halftime show I like to call Two Truths and a Lie. We're gonna see 4 players that I have chosen. I'm gonna have 3 statements about said players. One of those statements is gonna be a lie. 2 of them are going to be truths. No way. It's in the name,
Are you
right?
gonna cheat me like last time when all of them were true and you kept lying and said one of them was a lie?
No, I didn't do that this time. That one is a special occasion, all right? That one was a special occasion. So we're going to start off with our first player, all right? You guys ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Ready? So it's 100 Thieves Academy ADC BMFX. All right, you ready? You ready? We got 3 things. So, started competitive in 2021. Ooh. First team, I'm giving myself the audience. First team was called Sign Us Please. That's the second one. Was signed to 100 Thieves because of his friendship skills. Which one of those statements would possibly be the lie?
The last
it's a real
one?
thinker. It's a real thinker.
I tried to decide what the last one means.
Wait, you don't believe in the power of friendship?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the last one personally.
I'm gonna go with the last
Wow.
one. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember like who was on Sign Us Please, because
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to remember too. And I think I can't remember who's on that team.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But
Like
I'm
BMFX started pretty recently.
Yeah, he did. I know that he started in 2021. I do know that. So I'm gonna go with the last one, the power of friendship.
All right, we've heard it. We've heard it from both of you at this point. Yes, it was. You got me. It's the last one. It was a lie because he was signed a cause his POVs. He was just too darn good. the coaching staff was just like, all right, we got to get this guy.
All right, fair.
Next player, CLG Academy mid laner Triple.
Ooh.
There's a real turn of events coming with this one. Started competitive on Avant Academy in Oceania. I was gonna go with the short pronunciation, but then I went with the whole thing. So Oceania was where he started on Avant. That's one of them. We have came to NA in 2019. That's another one. See if you remember your dates. And his nickname is from how many triple kills he got in Oceania before coming over to NA. Which one of
It's
those
3.
is true?
That's 3. Yeah, I
It's
think
number
it is
3.
either 3,
How
but
could
the
it
triple.
possibly
It's like
be
the
3? That one
burgers,
sounds so-
right? It's the burgers.
That
Yeah.
one sounds. No, what are you talking?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I'm like that was the burger one. That's the only reason I'll
It
ever
is the
remember.
burgers because it's a triple cheeseburger anytime you go into a triples match. No,
Yeah.
it is really funny. I still get a kick out of that. We found that out last split, and I just still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always
I was
think about
trying
that
to
too.
remember. I was trying to remember if it was 2019 or 2020 when Triple came over to NA.
Well, see,
And I
I
heard
was
the last one. I was like,
2018
oh,
or 2019. I was
that one.
2018 or 2019, and then I heard
Yeah.
that last one. I'm like, oh,
And it
there's
was on
something else.
FlyQuest Academy.
Yeah,
There you
I
go.
did know that.
His first stint there. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. All right, third one. We're gonna move forward. We got 100 Thieves Academy top laner Tenacity, another stalwart standout. Now, a couple different things. Now, he has coached multiple roles for LCS. All right, that one's one of them.
Okay.
Has been to multiple international boot camps. That's another one. Now, when he was playing for 100X, he was playing from Alberta. Which one of those could possibly be The Lie.
I'm gonna go with
I
number
feel like-
one.
I'm the
I'm
evil
gonna
liar.
go with A or 1 or whatever your justification is.
Whichever
I feel
one
like
of
our
those.
teacher is constantly making the same answer C every single time, so we look at it. It's like, huh, that doesn't feel
you
right.
know, they do say like a percentage is like it's if you want to guess an answer, C is like the most likely percentage. Of all the
Yeah,
multiple
it
choices.
definitely feels like C because I know he was actually very involved in helping other roles.
Yeah, I
throughout
know
the
that
course of
too,
his
but
last year.
I don't know if he was coaching. I don't know if he was under the
That's
the
fair. The
designation of
semantics are
coaching.
weird.
That's
I don't
why
think it
I'm
was
like,
Alberta.
I know that's what I'm also
Okay,
torn out because
okay.
I thought he was
Why-
like
why
I thought it was
specifically
more
not
Ontario. I thought it was Ontario.
Yeah, I thought it was Ontario.
And so that's why I'm like, it's either A1,
Why do you
whatever,
guys know so
and
much? All right,
C3,
stop it.
whatever.
All right,
so that's why I'm like,
stop. All right, the lie is he played 400X from Alberta. It was from
Okay.
Toronto because
Which is in Ontario?
yeah.
yes,
so-
exactly.
See, I was
Exactly.
right. So
That's why I'm giving it to you.
Okay.
And because Kenvy was the one that was in Alberta.
yeah.
And on the point of the multiple coaching multiple roles, at least in the LCS, he was actually coaching roles that weren't top because he felt like someday needed the least amount of help.
Oh,
And,
interesting.
huge props to Kelsey for a little bit of the behind the scenes info. I always appreciate that. But we're gonna move on to our last player before we do get into the breakdown of that game and get into the next game. CLG Academy support Breezy is going to be our last one. All right, had to change things up a little
I'm
bit
ready.
here. Now, went straight to 100 Academy to start his competitive career. Pretty good friends with offline TV member Avani. That's pretty big. First time Pike in a pro match. This is some banger trivia. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna go with B only because I want C to be true. I want that to be true. I want it to be
Okay.
that his first time ever playing Pike was a competitive game.
What do you think, Joshi?
My gut wants to say C because that's just a ridiculous fact.
But I want it to be true.
Hey,
But-
I want it to be true.
I think it's A. I think he played for somebody else before he played for 100 Thieves Academy.
Why are you so smart, Joshi? It was a dang
Thank
it.
God C's
Gosh
right.
darn it.
Thank God C's right. That's all I care about.
He did not go straight from starting competitive to 100 Academy. He started on Arizona State. That's where
There
he
it
was
is.
scouted.
Yeah, that's right.
Then also spent a little bit of time on Dramatic, and then was brought into 100 Thieves Academy.
I'm just glad C was true. That's all I cared about.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So you got
Yeah.
apparently Kelsey was saying that like apparently they're really good friends with Avani from Offline TV. Like they used to go to the 100
I
Thieves
don't
compound.
know
and, like,
who
hang
that
out. They'd,
is.
like rage streams all the time. I think that's kind of incredible.
I'm not
and
good at
he
knowing
did
people.
literally last week, first time Pike in a pro.
Okay, cool.
Oh.
Wait, can I ask who's Avani?
I think it's also said. I've heard Yvonne.
Good question. We're gonna segue to the next part because I
Okay.
don't know them.
Okay.
So we're gonna go. We're gonna go on to the rest of this day as
He's a
I
streamer.
have come in. We've had a little bit of fun with the two truths and a lie, and it was nice to get a little bit of digging under some of these players. I always love seeing some of this. We get to talk about the triple cheeseburger again, over and over again. I feel like it'll never die.
It'll never die.
But let's talk a little bit more about this series that we have on hand. The last game of the day here on the Path to LCS stream, CLG Academy versus 100 Thieves Academy. And really want to reach back to the game that we just saw, Joshi, and talk a little bit about your feelings, especially from the 100 Thieves types to start it, side to start it off, just to see, what could possibly change going into game 2.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, like, I liked their draft, but I hated their package usage. I've been really gritting to love Jimmy over the course of, spring into summer. He's definitely been a lot stronger in the second half of spring coming into summer as well. Like, he's been looking good. But his package usage this game was not good, and it definitely put 100 Thieves in a lot of situations where they were not ready to take fights, and they had to take some weird fights in order to justify a previous mistake. And so, like, looking at how they played out the rest of the game, there was a couple fights where they were pretty close that they didn't necessarily need to take, but this was an uncharacteristically poor game from Jimian, and it really hurt them because it allowed LeBlanc to get so strong.
And I think that's where you see Jimmy and having been a standout for this squad. And
Yeah,
also,
it's weird.
now the more senior members on the team since last split, it helps to have a little bit of stability in that mid lane. Alex, what do you think you're looking at least on the other side for CLG Academy coming into the last game of the day?
I mean, honestly, if I look at what I want to see from them is I want to see Rose Thorn play even more aggressively early on. I don't think he did enough to really be proactive to try to see if he can either help topside, make sure that you didn't have the solo kills that ended up coming through for the side of Tenacity, or make it so that you're really putting everything into triple right from the get-go. You're making sure he's going to be set up. You don't have to worry about the scaling options on the other side of having that beefy frontline Zac. And so that way, it's just removing portions of what Under Thief drafted from the equation.
Yeah.
I guess.
There's actually one other small, this is really nitpicky, but we didn't actually see the Umbral Glaive come out first on Senna, right? The fact that
Right.
Senna, took forever to, I don't remember if they actually even built it later on, but they went directly for the Eclipse. And while in a lot of games, I think that's super defensible, right? Like the Umbral Glaive helps you control vision. This was a game that was determined based on your vision control, and losing out on the Umbral Glaive lost you a ton of control over what you knew on the map. And that's what 100 Thieves were able to exploit. So being able to forecast really far ahead as to what your win conditions are going to be is something that I feel like CLG just slightly missed out upon, and they really only made one big mistake around not checking the Baron when they needed to.
Well, I'm excited to kick this last game off as Champion Select is ready to go. So I guess got to leave it all on the table, huh? So for the first time for me and the last time for you guys, Joshi, Magical, take it away.
It feels so good having a host again. Thank you again, Mazel, for coming back. I hope that your internet, well, not even internet, your power stays up because, I like having you around. It's always fun. But we got to get into this game, our last one of the day for the Path to LCS stream. Remember, there's more on twitch.tv/academy. But as we get into Champion Select between these two teams, 100 Thieves, I'm wondering if they go for such a chaotic kind of composition like they did last time. It seemed to worked really well, especially because even despite some mistakes made, like you talked about around the quirky packages, it didn't matter. It didn't mount to anything that actually could be overcome.
Yeah, we definitely saw a lot of success coming through from different members of CLG at different points in the game, right? Jenkins, even after giving up over a couple solo kills, was able to turn that on its head. And this is a situation where CLG are once again going to kind of be in control of how the draft goes. They don't want to take away the Senate this time. They don't feel as though Meech had enough control over the last game to justify it, but they do want to get BMFX off of that.
Yeah, and I can respect that. They want to get Meech on something that he can feel more empowered to really carry. That's why they brought this player over. He is one of those mechanical gods that everyone's been talking about in the marksman position. You want him to play things that he can feel like he's carrying on, that he can utilize, such as the Aphelios, the Zeri that got banned away from him this time around, or even the Callista that they take away from BMFX.
Yeah, and they're really challenging BMFX's champion pool here, right? With only 2 bans, the Senna taken off the table from BMFX and the Callista, that is both his first and second most played so far at this point, just preventing him from going back onto Comfort. And now 100 Thieves, they need to figure out what they can do, and the Ashe pick coming through. Okay.
Hold on a
Go
second.
back to the Ashe. I like the Ashe.
The Ashe actually
This is also good. Okay.
The illusion's good, but I kind of like the Ashe as well. I was kind of here for it.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it grow as a support pick recently in the solo queue. It is actually more popular as a support now in solo queue than it is as an AD carry, which is wild to me with the Imperial Mandate build. But we'll get back to that another time because BMFX and Busio are here to challenge Meech and Breezy. They picked a lane that was not likely to be winning before, and this time, oh, excuse me, I had it backwards. They picked a lane that was really strong last time, but now they're going even further in the other direction. They're saying, we are going to win this lane, we are going to beat you up, and they are fighting fire with fire. Callista Renata versus Lucian Nami is one of the most explosive bot lanes we could possibly ask for.
I mean, that's what I was about to even say, too. The fact that Busio is this explosive, aggressive support, playing the Nami. It's more on the MFX this time around to try to see if he can not only contain, but make sure that he's killing Meech early into this game, especially because you've got some threats on the other side. You got that gangplank already locked in for Jenkins in the top side. And this Lilia could be for Tenacity or it could be for Will. That gives a lot more angles on each side of the table of how they want to punish their opponents.
Yeah, and now we're looking at 100 Thieves. Like last game, they had a ton of what I call proactive crowd control that you tend to use at the outset as ways to get things going. This time, their crowd control is relatively reactive, right? You have the sleep, which takes a couple of seconds to wind up. The tidal wave is not particularly fast, and the bubble, you ideally want something else to set up for it or be getting it from Fog of War. So 100 Thieves, they aren't quite as forward pushing as they were in the first game, and CLG, they have a lot of tools to play at range. So this is a very different draft, a much more meta draft coming out from 100 Thieves this time around, and now they have to try and find ways to enable BMFX on this Lucian.
And with the enabling capabilities, you also have to worry about, as you talked about, the volatility of that bot lane. The Kalista and Renata on the other side, if you can get a good jungler for Rosethorn to make sure that you can not only combat Will, but also be proactive with those ganks that we wanted to see from Rosethorn last time around. It won't be on the Volibear. It will potentially be on something just as aggressive, though.
Yeah, and we know that Rosethorn, I mean, he's played a lot of Viego so far, but it's already been banned away. So he's played Jarvan and Trundle as well as champions that we haven't necessarily seen otherwise, right? We were talking earlier about how Yuji had played 8 games on the Wukong. Rosethorn has put 8 games on the Viego, so it's similarly super crazy about how much they've actually been reliant on this champion.
I mean, and it makes sense right now, because Viego, Wukong are what I'd argue to be the 2 most powerful junglers at the moment. Taking away both of them on each side, knowing that Will can play that effectively, but also knowing that Rosethorn likes to play that Viego. So when we get into this last pick, they've got themselves Azir. It's a pretty typical mid lane matchup that you get for the side of Triple, but we are looking at what Rosethorn drafts because this is, like you talked about, a new identity for him.
Yeah, and we also like to see the Tenacity coming in with the Fiora to try and challenge Jenkins on the Gangplank. This is another matchup that is kind of a skill matchup, right, over the course of the fight. But whoa, the Diana coming through right now for Rosethorn, really challenging what he typically will do here in the jungle, right? This is not something that I think we've seen him play in quite a long time. And bringing this extra magic damage source means that there's a little bit more incentive for the side of 100 Thieves to build one of the best items in the game, the Hex Drinker.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's you have a lot of AP damage on the side of CLG. While you do also have good sources of 80 damage in both Gangplank and Kalista, you're looking at a lot of that damage, especially initially coming in from Azir and Diana. A lot of burst potential from both of them. And as you had mentioned, Fiora, Corki, Lucian, all enjoy actually building the Hex Drinker. It doesn't really hurt them that much.
Yeah, and so now the big thing that we're going to pay attention to once again is Jimmy on the Corki, right? We were looking at how Rosethorn was going to be able to upset the balance of power, but Corki is the first character we have to look at who is game warping, right? He has a ton of range that he can play with. He outranges both the Gangplank and the Azir, and of course the Kalista. He is going to be the first champion that everybody on CLG needs to pay attention to, but the person who can deal with it is Rosethorn, right? You know, there's a tank Diana build that has become very popular. You can go for AP. He can blow up Corki before Corki can become a problem, and then the shoe is on the other foot. CLG, from that position, outrange the rest of 100 Thieves. So Rosethorn needs to make these plays.
That he does, and it's been since Proving Grounds, the spring Proving Grounds, the last time we saw him play at Diana. We'll see how he pilots it here on the Rift. Game number 2, they're down 1 game in our best of 2, looking to battle back against 100 Thieves who have similar elements of the composition and also new elements, while they also charge down the top lane.
As they potentially look for shenanigans, it will not be met on the other side.
Bottom.
There's no shark champion yet.
Well, there's a land shark.
Yeah, you know, Fizz summons a shark. Sometimes it's a rabbit. That's not a shark. Good try, observers.
That's a fish. Well, I mean, a shark is a fish, isn't it?
Well, all sharks are fish, but not all fish are sharks.
Well, have you ever heard of the theory that fish don't exist? Like, the term fish is too broad because it usually just relates to anything that's underwater. But fish themselves can vary so drastically that they sometimes aren't even close to being related.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing, like, there's no such thing as a tree.
Either.
There's also no such thing as a tree, right?
Yeah,
Like, it's not a
yeah.
useful taxonomic classification. But anyway, we definitely have pretty standard things going on. So I have a couple of interesting things to pay attention to, right? Triple going for the Conqueror is expecting these fights to be rather brawly, and I'm not sure I agree with that assessment, because it is the kind of thing where you are going to be blown up or blowing up, and
You think so?
there's not a whole lot of in between.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would think that with at least the build path that Jimmy went last game on Corki, having the Lilia on the side, and even the Fiora, that these fights might be a little bit longer lasting.
I think they're longer lasting, but I don't think you get to consistently hit through them, right?
Gotcha.
I think it's going to be a lot like, I describe it as like Overwatch team fighting, where you have both teams kind of like lining up and throwing skill shots at each other, waiting for somebody to mess up, and then you go in and kill them.
Gotcha.
But Conqueror's not as useful there. I would have preferred to see like an Electrocute or a Comet here, so you can actually like participate in a lot of these fights. And so, Triple, he did a good job last game on the LeBlanc in a very tough situation. I'm ready to be proven wrong.
We'll have to keep our eyes on it, as right now, the Azir Corki matchup that many people have complained about. I, in fact, don't necessarily hate it. I just hate when it's the only thing played in the meta. Seems like that might be the case, but Rosethorn, he's sneaky. Instead, he's going to see if he can test this red buff that's been started up by Will, and they don't have any idea. This could just be a Smite secure. Yes, it will be.
Okay.
For Rosethorn, stealing that away, getting a lot of damage onto Will as well. The blast gun away for Will. He will survive, but he lost his buff.
This is a good start from Rosethorn, right? As one of these more solo queue junglers, he's really good at creating this chaos in the opposing side. And he wasn't able to create a lot of pressure up against Will Zach, but now in the Diana versus Lilia matchup, already taking away the first buff is going to delay his side, but he forces Will to try and find some early ganks, and Lilia's unexcited about that prospect.
Yeah, it definitely is going to put a hamper on Will on how he's going to be able to play this one. But when we look at the lane states right now, Will does have his top lane. Well, I was going to say his top lane's looking really well. Tenacity getting the good early lead against Jenkins. It's more the bot lane that I'm surprised by, because I would expect the bot lane to have a sizable lead and really enable Will to feel more powerful.
That's actually kind of wild, right? The Lucian Nami, but what is supposed to be the most powerful, most aggressive bottom lane, is down wave and a half at only 4 minutes. That is very surprising, right? We know that Meech and Breezy are supposed to be two better laners than BMFX and Busio combined, but I wasn't expecting that much of a lead, and now Rosethorn coming through, going to clear out some vision and threaten Busio and BMFX again.
They, if they're wise, should just look to see if they can keep this minion wave frozen the best possible, so that way they're not under threat from Rosethorn. It is only level 4 at the moment. Normally, Diana, it's not like as bad as she was before that that could have been disastrous for BMFX.
Yeah, Busio had just gotten his Electrocute back up in order to go for that, and then BMFX just loses line of sight, can't hit Breezy at all, and that was almost disastrous.
Had the handshake connected, I think that would have been a death on the side of 100 Thieves, but they do skirt danger. Will survive, but it's still Meech and Breezy with control of this bot lane and still surprising us.
Yeah, Meech and Breezy are actually doing a fantastic job playing against the range of BMFX and Busio. And you see, like, Busio goes for the self-heal in order to get a little bit of damage down, but doesn't get the bounce over, and barely playing against the handshake. Meech and Breezy, you need to be careful. This can get frozen on them, but I think they're going to stick around and try and break it.
Looks like it at the moment. Making sure they got the bone plating to survive some of that early damage that can come in from BMFX and Busio. So that you should be able to unfreeze the wave despite the valiant efforts coming in from BMFX and Busio to keep it frozen right outside of the turret range.
Yeah, and the lead is continuing to grow, right? There's so much of an advantage of Meech and Breezy over BMFX and Busio. And there's a small advantage here for Tenacity against Jenkins, right? It is still a skill matchup for a good chunk of the top lane. But it's nowhere near as big as the bottom lane.
Oh, what about this mid lane? Because Triple, he's getting a good lead over Jimmy right there, who just ticks level 6, and that's the reason why he survives.
I think the only reason why Triple didn't go in there was because he was expecting Jimmy to flash.
Yeah, I think so.
There you go. There you go.
I think so as well. Because, man, that was a lot of damage, and it was a perfectly timed level 6 for Jimmy. And a little bit of luck, a little bit of skill. Make sure that he just didn't die to the poke, but I think it's like you were talking about, Triple didn't expect that much damage, nor did he really want to go in knowing that Jimmy still had flash available.
Okay. Busio, gotta get caught.
Ooh, nice use of the cannon barrage. Gets one flash, looked for the handshake, did not connect. So instead, they turn their attention onto BMFX, getting a lot of the spears, and the Ren through will take him down low and even reattempt the engage coming in from Rosethorn. But that was a bad decision there because you took a lot more damage on the way out.
Yeah, not level 6, not going to be able to get any crowd control, and so Busio and BMFX are not upset about that situation. They deny some CS from Meech and Breezy.
Oh, the
Will.
Will! Hello! He just eviscerates Rosethorn on one side. They thought they had the inside angle to be able to fight back against Will, and now they have to flash towards him to see if they can take him down, but the blue buff will not do enough. It's going to be the Emperor's Divide from Triple to make sure they get one in turn, and it's Busio.
Jimmy, what is he doing here? They don't know. He's able to walk on out.
Oh, my.
Okay. All right, crazy sequence of events though, but the big thing is that Meech gets a kill, and in a lane where they are already winning a lot harder than they're supposed to be, this is a big lead coming through for Meech and Breezy. They can look to take over this mid game, and even though Will gets a kill back onto Rosethorn, it doesn't mean that Rosethorn can't do a lot of things he was trying to do anyway.
Yeah, and getting back on the rift, not falling that far behind, even getting the Scuttle Crab on the top side of the map. Rosethorn will be in a fine spot. Even if he lost the first blood over to Will, it's not like he's that far behind, and he can still look for these plays onto someone like Tenacity. Though, they're getting spotted out by the ward. Tenacity, wise to it, easily gets out of there.
So what does Rosethorn choose to do with his time now that he knows he is spotted on the top side? He's going to go right on back to his jungle, and both jungles kind of falling behind a little bit on where they were in terms of their actual jungle pathing, and Rosethorn choosing to put himself even further behind in order to try and pick up this Rift Herald. I can't imagine 100 Thieves expect him to be doing this. They probably think he's doing the rest of his buffs, and so he might get away with it.
I think he will. No, he will be spotted out by the Scryer's Bloom from Jimian, but Triple's already there. Already willing to protect and make sure they can secure this. Same up top side where Tenacity was taken down pretty low by that parlay coming in from Jenkins. They secure it without a fight.
And now he's just going straight top lane, right? They see him again. Rosethorn is kind of like psychopathic almost, right? He's not clearing out any of his 6 camps. He's trying to make sure the rest of his team is strong on the map, but this is at the cost of himself, and I think he's a bigger part of their success in this game than he might. And as Tenacity tries to challenge Jenkins back, this is really smart, actually. He knows that it's a cannon. He's not going to lose anything as long as he doesn't, fight to the death immediately after. But Rosethorn falling behind Will, it's not what I was expecting.
Not at all. Even though they do have that ability now to try to see if they can translate some gold into one of their laners. I'm looking at the bot lane especially because Meech and Breezy have been doing an excellent job in laning against a Lucian Nami lane. But it's like you talked about, you're putting the Diana now behind. You're making it so it's a little bit more difficult for this Diana when the mid game to late game starts to roll around. She just doesn't feel as powerful to be able to burn down the targets really quickly.
Yeah, and so we will see if Rosethorn feels strong enough to actually go for some of the plays later on, right? We challenged him at the beginning that he's going to be the one who's the primary person who can deal with Jimian at range. They just get in on top and immediately look for opportunities to fight. But I also want to point out on the bottom side of the map, BMFX and Busio challenging some of the early dominance from Meech and Breezy by picking up this lethality. It's kind of like building an extra Doran's item, right? You just say, I need power now, we are going to be fighting, and I want as much power immediately as I can ask for. So BMFX and Busio, with this kind of decision making, will be trying to find some of these advantages, but it pushed the Mythic back further from BMFX. So he gets power now, but he loses a little bit for a little while.
Well, it did net them at least the Dragon take, so they have the first one of the game being a Hex Tech Dragon. Gets them some sort of a lead at least. But really looking at how they can translate that, how they can make sure that this isn't all for naught. I think Will has to look to make a play bot lane, especially because, again, the package taken by Jimian, but nothing to fight over.
Like, this is the thing, right? He needs to justify picking it up now, because now it is not going to be there for the next Dragon. It is not going to be there for the next Herald. He is committed to trying to find a roam right now. Otherwise, this package is, again, not good.
It's got to be bot lane, right? And because you have that lethality, the extra little bit of burst damage from BMFX, that's got to be where he looks to make a play.
Is it? Okay, he could also look to go top lane. Like, there's a dive opportunity up there if Tenacity starts calling for it, and
I guess
that's what
they're
Julian's
calling.
rotating for.
Yeah, I'm just more surprised.
Okay.
I thought they would look for the bot lane play, but now they're focused on the top side. Tenacity is below 50% and no minions either. They're already mostly cleared out. There's the package used on Jenkins, and Jenkins will die to Tenacity.
Okay. All right. Again, they're justifying it, right? So even though the decision is surprising, right, Jimian is making it work. They go top lane, they find the dive, and Tenacity plays it excellently.
Oh, Breezy takes the full calling to the face, nearly dying for it as well. He'll back off of the fight for now, and he'll be perfectly fine getting back into lane, but it does mean that they do relent a little bit of the pressure that they had with the cannon minion wave crashing.
Yeah. Now, I want to go back to the top lane play, right? Not necessarily to, like, break it down again, because the play was pretty straightforward. Tenacity was just able to beat up Jenkins. But the lead that you built up for Tenacity does justify the package usage, right? He's now up 30 CS in what's supposed to be a skill matchup. He's going to be a big threat. He is very close to his first build, and notice the boots he's gone for. He's gone for boots of swiftness, right? He's going to be so fast. He's going to be so hard for anybody to actually catch, and it means that, you know, while we already know he's going to be a split push threat, he's now going to be almost impossible to catch.
Well, Tenacity playing with fire, getting a little bit of poke back onto Jenkins, and with the Rift Herald being called mid lane, they look to get some plates for Jenkins. Try to see if they could overcome that deficit that you were talking about, because it's, I mean, sure, it's not quite 1,000, but still a sizable lead for a Fiora to have over Gangplank.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even, you know, it's like 500, right? It's still the fact that it is Gangplank who is just continuing to farm with Parlay, and there was no plates that went down in the top lane after the play, right? Because Triple was instantly there with the teleport. You know, it was good for Tenacity, but the CS was the bigger deal, and now we will see if Tenacity can use the lead that was given to him by Jimian to snowball it out. Jenkins might be caught.
Jenkins might not just be caught. He is caught, because that's a lot of damage coming in from Tenacity, and we've seen that he's willing to dive. But he bails out of that one, playing a little bit more defensively, not wanting to give over any more of a lead to Jenkins than he has to.
And he does a good job backing out, right? Keeping himself up against the wall so that the vitals won't get procced.
Woo! Jimian, you gotta be careful that fight against Triple. Well, he did get a good chunk of damage back onto Triple. The Conqueror was keeping Triple fairly topped off.
Yeah, and now this is kind of the moment, right, where Tenacity starts becoming very strong. He's already level 11. He's got 2 plates. That's another kill. He's now over 1,000 gold lead, and it does get stopped.
Does get stopped, but he still has that 1,000 gold lead that you're talking about now over Jenkins. Gonna be a lot larger and a lot easier once he does get the recall off to actually fight against Jenkins. But if Jenkins can keep him pinned into this lane for a little bit longer, might make it a bit more difficult. But yeah, I was going to say, that's why you're calling up reinforcements. That's why you're calling Will. You're even calling Jimian, but Jimian is chased away by Triple Rosethorn.
Yeah. I mean, this is a good play, right? Coming through from the side of 100 Thieves. They just say, hey, please help me crash this. I want to get a reset in, and they do manage to do that. Oh, they don't. Tenacity's fighting.
Oh, Tenacity got forced from his recall, so that's a lot of damage coming in from Jenkins, nearly solo killing Tenacity. He knew that that was his window of opportunity to play aggressively against Tenacity before he bases and buys a good chunk of items.
Yeah, same thing that we saw from Kumo, right? Trying to force Surdy to stay in lane. This time, Tenacity going to not actually be recalling, going to be sticking around a little bold, but Rosethorn isn't there to punish. We don't see Jenkins there in a spot to do anything, and so he's trading a wave now for a wave later. Jimian.
Ooh. Emperor's Divide burned by Triple. He was afraid that there was going to be more utilized by 100 Thieves. And that's a big cooldown now burned, and all the while, Will has been just taking this dragon, second one of the game.
Yeah. Okay, so that's going to be another dragon going over to 100 Thieves, right? Remember, as long as the game is relatively even, Corki is the most important champion on the map. And until we get to the spot where Rosethorn can show that he's going to be able to beat him up, it's going to be continuing to find leads for 100 Thieves every time they simply line up for one of these fights. And yes, good job for Jenkins. Picks up the turret. That was one of the greedy things from Tenacity, right? He could have either chosen to leave and lose a wave, or he chose to stay and greet the wave thinking that Jenkins had backed. And that's kind of like that top lane play we were talking about with Surdy earlier, right? Like, are you gone? Can I push this? The answer was, yes, you're gone. I know you left. I saw you leave. Now I get your entire turret because of it.
And that's going to get this Gangplank back into this game. Start to be more in control of his own destiny, not really at the fates of having teammates and making sure that he's reliant on where his team is positioned. Of course, it's not going to be the easiest matchup still. Tenacity's now gone back, has gotten that Divine Sundere completed, comparing that to the side of Jenkins, who's got his Trinity Force as well as some Grievous Wounds built up. It still be a fairly volatile match.
Still very volatile, right? I like the way you put that. It's still not decided, but the bottom lane has been decided. It's been a while since we checked in with Meech and Breezy, and they are up now 30 CS. Woo! They are even stronger. They already have the Mythic completed. And remember how we said that BMFX was going for the Serrated Dirk? He still doesn't have his Mythic completed, and that means Meech is stronger.
Got the Immortal Shield Bow already completed on the side of Meech. Looking at when these fights will come up soon, because you better bet that CLG, they've been waiting. They haven't really looked for the proactivity because they have really good team fight setup. You got Diana, you've got a Naziri, hostile takeovers as well with a Cannon Barrage. That is a lot of zone control given over to the side of CLG as they take down a tier 1 and give themselves more control over the rest of the map.
Yeah, definitely gives them more control around the upcoming dragons. They should have a little bit more control over the jungle, but Rosethorn, again, we're looking at, that they were the players that we were looking at originally, Rosethorn and Will, ever since they were playing back in Golden Gardens and Dignitas academies respectively. They were looking for opportunities to kind of prove that they belong to hang with the top dogs, and I feel like, so far, because Will has gotten away with nothing happening to him in 2 tempo matchups for Rosethorn, it's a pretty big win for Will.
Yeah, he's doing a fairly decent job of making sure to hold his own. Even going for more of that bruiser, the AP bruiser build that we tend to see from Lilia nowadays. Comparing that to Rosethorn on the other side, with the Hex Tech rocket belt completed, looking for more of the burst potential, but this is where things will get tricky. He hasn't really been able to find a successful play, and you're getting those Hex Shrinkers built up by 100 Thieves.
Yep. And we're going to see a turret trade. I think 100 Thieves are pushed away, but the bottom lane does go down. CLG find another small win.
Sleepy had to flash back towards his turret because he saw Tenacity all on the wings. That could have been a bad play for him. He could have been death waiting for him. Instead, they thwart the attempted play. They get the turret without having to trade anything in mid.
Yeah. So, Magical. I want to return to the top lane as we are taking time to kind of bounce between the lanes, right?
So, Josh, why do we have to go back to the top lane?
Because Jenkins' turret is still alive.
No, I feel like there's an ulterior motive here.
Well, Jenkins might be my favorite player on the Rift, but his turret is still alive. He has a lot of wave clear.
There we go. That's it. Oh, I like the sneaky from Rosethorn. Looks for Tenacity, trying to see if they can get the riposte out early with a Grand Challenge doing a lot of damage over to the side of Jenkins. They got to be careful. They're waiting it out. They don't want to use their CC just yet because that can get riposting to turn the tide of the fight. But now that the Grand Challenge is gone, Jenkins and Rosethorn, they'll bow out of that, knowing that Will and the rest of the 100 Thieves crew were in the vicinity.
Yeah, cool play coming through from Tenacity, right, to keep himself alive in that situation. But the problem that he's going to run into, right, is as Fiora versus Gangplank, you need to catch Gangplank out and run him down in a long lane. As long as his turret's up, the lane is not long enough for Tenacity to catch Jenkins, right? And Jenkins will always be wave clearing the waves as long as he's in the lane. So this is a pretty decent position for the Gangplank. He is more relevant in the upcoming team fights. And even though he is outranged by Corki, if you get the vision to just one-shot Corki with a single barrel, sometimes it doesn't matter that you are outranged if you can get underneath the guns.
Well, that is one thing to kind of bring back with that Hex Shrinker built up by Jimian. It will only really help you in the matchups versus Triple and Rosethorn. Ain't gonna do jack against Jenkins once Jenkins joins in, especially because you look at how he built.
Yes!
There we go. That's much better. Now you have the package timer actually lined up with the dragon spawning up here in a few seconds.
Okay, how do 100 Thieves want to play this, though? They have the package.
Oh, but they're burning
not
down.
There.
No, instead, do they just call for the Baron instead? Forfeit that dragon. It's only the first one of the game for CLG. Maybe even set up control on this tier 1 mid lane. So that way, they have some plays, but that's going to be the Moonfall getting at least the package out of Jimian.
Yeah, not going to be able to lock him down, though, but they do save the mid lane turret with that play. 100 Thieves. They have the package at the right timer, but they're not able to capitalize on it. I mean, it's not the worst thing, right? They already have 2 dragons. They still have a scaling composition. They can still play for Corki Rockets later on in the game.
Right.
But it's something where I feel like 100 Thieves will need to re-evaluate how they've been using packages for the most part, right? They had the one good package from Jimian Like, it was a weird timer, but they end up making it work up in the top side. That was a good timer, but the play didn't materialize.
Look, Josh, I'm going to be honest with you.
What's up?
This game's boring.
Is it because there's only 3 kills?
It's because there's only 3 kills.
But this game's really interesting.
It's see, this is the difference between a play-by-play and a color. Colors like the the analytical side to see more the clean League of Legends, to try to find the small micro leads that you can get over your opponent. And play-by-plays, we want fights, we want smashy. That's all we care about.
Okay, well, the turret got smashed. Is that not enough?
No, I want
Tenacity
fights.
finally broke it.
5v5
He found an
fights.
opportunity.
Boring.
Alright, well, I want to do praise Tenacity, right? Because he has picked up the blue buff. He got the top lane turret. He's now starting to take control. It's taken a little longer than it has in a lot of our previous games. But now, this is when our conversation comes in. Like, is Will's advantage something he earned himself? Or is the advantage going to be something that the rest of his team kind of got for him? Now, it's definitely not BMFX and Busio this game. But, okay.
Okay, here we go. Now we're turning up the heat a little bit.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking, because you got a Callista wailing away at the Purple Worm for a long time by your lonesome with Will Busio nearby. They don't even sniff this up. They have no idea, and so that will just be CLG getting away with robbery.
And they used the Gangplank ult mid lane so that there's no counter turret in the
Wow.
mid.
All
CLG,
right, there we
they're
go.
doing a great job stifling everything. It's not a kill. It's still 1 to 2.
It's not smashy smash, but I respect the play.
So now CLG, as they stall this out, right, with this Baron buff, they can look to be very aggressive because the wave clear coming through from Corki, it's got to be targeted mostly at the champions. He doesn't actually do that much damage to a lot of these minions, and so we'll see if CLG can find something. Remember, Meech is up 60 CS. He's got a kill. He's 2 items to not even a completed one, or excuse me, 1 and not a completed second coming out from BMFX.
Yeah, still pretty far behind on this Lucian. Was not able to have that power in lane phase that Lucian tends to have. While Meech got himself that Ginsu's already built up. Looking for his 3rd item of the game. Having only 1 kill, but look at how much he's farmed up. Got the most CS so far in this game. And more than, what is that? More than, I'm trying to think of it. It's like 10 a minute?
Yeah, more than 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think, Magical, that our observers are agreeing with you. They're a little bit sad that we don't have as many kills, right? You know, I appreciate, the character we get when we start following the bowling balls around and trying to convince us that Nami's a shark. But there hasn't been that many kills. But this is the big thing, right? Even with the Baron buff, Jenkins hasn't been able to push out. He knows he can't take these really long lane fights, but he can wave clear.
On Tenacity can also look to battle against Jenkins here in this long lane that you had asked for, where the Fiora can just run down Jenkins at any time. But Jenkins just hugging this turret. He's not really trying to go near Tenacity, nor is he trying to push back too effectively against this Fiora. Understanding, all he has to do is clear out the minion waves, make sure these turrets survive since he's got the Baron buff on his team, and the other lanes are still working out.
Yeah, is that the same blue buff, or is that a new one from Tenacity? Because if they're giving him blues, that's actually kind of wild that they're giving those resources over. But as this mid lane turret goes down, there's no answer coming out. Who is this? Oh, this is Azir. Okay.
Yeah, I was confused too. I thought for a second that it was Jenkins. I'm like, why are you leaving the turret?
Why are you gone? But no, they're very happy with this currently. The fact that they picked up a turret there is good, but I don't know if it's going to be enough, right? We are still very close. Jimin is almost level 16, and the reason why Corki is absolutely nuts is because the ratios on your rockets increase with level. It's not that their base damages increase that much, though that does help. It's that all the AP and AD that you have built up is converted at massive ratios as we start looking towards the level 16. And as soon as he hits that, I mean, best champion in the game.
I feel like I'm learning a lot this game. Just listening to you talk.
I know, you hate it, I'm sure.
Oh yes, miserable over here. Any play-by-play will attest to this, saying that, you know what, okay, where's the fight? And hey, that looks like a good pick from Busio, but they can't follow it up. Nobody was there. It was just Will and Busio.
Well, they will play for this blue buff, and Breezy! Woo!
All right, the Fates call. Make sure they get the Moonfall onto Jimmy and shut him down while surviving. Rosethorn now in the midst of everybody. He's jumping on top of BMX, who finally gets the kill back, but with Jenkins in the middle of everybody getting his own damage onto Will with the parlay to get a double kill. They look for tenacity. They look to turn it around, but now he's got that dash away. He's got the movement speed and sees how low Breezy is. Knowing that he's in a bad spot, trying to see if he can kite this back out, waiting for that target to look for the vitals. But instead, he's just playing chicken. He's waiting to see if he can catch someone off alone. That's going to be the grand challenge laid out. Flashing in, takes down Breezy. Tenacity 1v3. Not only gets a kill, but he gets away.
Oh my gosh, an absolutely crazy fight. It's a 3 for 3, but 100 Thieves also pick up the mid lane turret. Tenacity finds yet another blue buff this game. Looking for triple.
Yeah, he's not done. Like I said, he's
so fast.
comfortable with the 1v1s. He's got the Swifties, and that makes 2 kills here with 3 around him. Jenkins now looking to chase him down, but Jenkins, you got to learn what your teammates learned. You can't really fight him at this moment.
Absolutely crazy. Tenacity really feeling himself at this point, taking control of the side lanes, going for all of these duels, picking up Breezy in a 1v3.
Then getting blue
does he
buff,
want
and then
this?
getting
He wants
triple.
it.
Oh, of course he wants it. He's 2 levels up, Jenkins. Why not look for the fight?
Well, Rosethorn's right there, and luckily for Tenacity, he doesn't have to find out that Rosethorn is ready to go, but Jimmy is level 1600 Thieves. They've recovered a lot of the gold deficit. They've opened up the map a little bit more, and Tenacity, fully living in the jungle, is now starting to affect Rosethorn's CS, but also put Jenkins really far behind. You just called out, he's 2 levels above, but he's only about 500 gold.
And look at what, I mean, yeah, it's 500, but it's also the fact that Tenacity is now sitting on 2,000 gold. That would have been their time to strike, to make sure they can punish Tenacity while he's got the shutdown gold on top of him, and before he spends all of it. But he will get that recall off. He'll be fine, and now Jenkins. He's also doing his own chunk of damage onto Jimmy, and while the turret will fall, those barrel chains are starting to connect in. Now that he's got 3 out of his own, it has the Lord Dominic's Regard, Mortal Reminder as well. He's going to start blowing up members like Jimmy and BMFX.
Yeah, so I got a prediction for you, Alex.
What's that?
This game is going to be determined by which player between Jenkins, Rosethorn, and Jimian, and maybe Tenacity.
What about Tenacity? What about Tenacity, who just walks up like that, even with a Moonfall put on top of him? He gets so much damage onto the members of CLG Academy that he can just dive in deep and make sure that he can look for these kills with Bale coming in from Rosal. It's not enough. He got a double kill, and they've turned it around onto BMFX. But keep in mind, Tenacity still alive. Finally shut down by the side of Jenkins. 2 members on each side, but with the lilting lullaby, Jenkins flashes over after eating some oranges to be okay. Here comes the swirl seed.
Oh,
It does get the slow, gets the damage. Here comes Will. He makes sure the barrel chain's not there.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even get to finish my prediction, but already 100 Thieves. They find the fight, they find the extra member, and are they hitting the Baron with only these 2 members?
I guess
They
they
can do it. Will's very healthy.
Yeah, he is, and that's well, look at this though, Triple. He's TPing back in. He's looking to deny that, make sure there's no chance that they can take down the Purple Worm.
Yeah, the Alaskan Bullworm, the Texan Bullworm stays alive. But okay, we go back to the prediction because we're back to a steady state. This game is going to be determined when somebody between, again, Jimian, Jenkins, Rosethorn, and Tenacity randomly just kills somebody.
Yeah.
That's basically what we're waiting for. One of these players is going to one-shot somebody on the other team.
Okay, well, CLG, they start up the Baron, but they still got to be careful. Looking at the positioning, they've spotted out where Jimmy is. Moonfall as well with the Valkyrie trying to get it a little bit of distance, but they got way more damage onto Jimmy so they can take down the mid laner.
Okay.
But he is gone, and look at Tenacity. He's about to have that TP back up, so they can try to see if they can force this down before he has that TP.
Yeah, we called at the very beginning. This was Rosethorn. Rosethorn was the one who needed to find the kill onto Jimian. He's the one who gets it started. Jimian's not on the table. The Baron goes over. CLG in control, and they can start moving over towards the Dragon as well. They just need to respond to Tenacity's split push in the bottom lane because he can threaten to end the game if nobody's going to be responding.
But with Jenkins now nearby, I wouldn't be surprised if either him or Triple, it will be Triple, to meet Tenacity in the bot lane while the other members of 100 Thieves look to see if they can get a little bit of control around the Dragon Pit. But CLG don't really seem to care too much. They just more want to see if they can gain control of mid lane.
Yeah, Tenacity is grouped up a little bit. The Cannon Barrage doesn't really catch anyone. But Jimmy's still dead. Doesn't have teleport. So this is another dragon going over CLG.
So that will be the big thing. While it doesn't catch anyone, it forces out 100 Thieves from their own territory. And at Soul Point, CLG, Baron buffed as well. They have a firm lead in this game, even if the gold does not indicate so.
But what do they do with this Baron buff, right? They haven't even seen a turret since the last Baron buff, right? They haven't gotten anywhere close to any of the structures on the side of 100 Thieves. So this is going to be the next moment, and our prediction remains true. All 4 of our players that we were just talking about do still have the opportunity to one-shot somebody, but this back coming through means that CLG, they will have like a minute, maybe, of time to actually get some of these waves crashing. That is 2, maybe 3 waves, depending on how they try and sync it up. And so CLG, they don't get a lot with the Baron, actually.
No, should be timing out soon. So they won't really gain any more gold. They won't try to see if they can contest over the side lanes, because right now, with Tenacity level 18, he is still a big threat. He's got a Death Dance in his inventory, but no stopwatch this time around. A little bit more susceptible to getting caught out, especially when you have Infinity Edge completed for Jenkins, and then Jimmy and just getting caught out here by Rosethorn. That damage, even with a Hex Trigger, is not enough to be able to survive it all.
There you go. I mean, it wasn't it was a very slow one-shot, right? But still, Rosethorn fighting out Jimmy.
It still worked out, and now they have that advantage. So now they can start crashing these minions. The Baron's still there for a few more seconds, probably about 25 seconds still remaining on the clock for CLG, and they will topple a structure.
It is one structure, and that is big, but again, finding out Jimmy, and you have to ask CLG to find even more than this. They have 39 seconds left on the Baron.
Oh, that could be a pick. Breezy, he's taking down below 50, and nice riposte coming in from Tenacity to make sure they can clean up triple as Breezy nearly gets drawn back in, but he's got to bail out of that fight. Twirl Seed connects, forcing heal from Mish. With Jenkins having TP'd on the wrong side of the fight, he now has to bail out of this one. He'll utilize the cannons to get a little bit more movement speed, trying to get away, but Tenacity is so speedy. He's got a blast going. He's got boots of swiftness and a Guardian's Angel, so unless Jenkins could pull off a miracle and 1v2, he will certainly die, and there it is, the damage.
But mid lane.
Down, and like you talked about, mid lane, Meech just takes and opens up at least one of the inhibitors, but there's a TV behind him. Now they got to be careful of Tenacity coming in for another fight with Meech pretty low, and same with Breezy. Meech jumps in, looking for the rent stacks, got the damage, he takes down one, but here's Will to make sure that Meech, he's doing it! He's carting him back! Finally, he's killed by Will, but man, he nearly did it!
Absolutely crazy game. We see Jenkins go down in the bottom lane, but Meech with a hero play gets him the mid lane turret. And now, what can 100 Thieves get with this? Probably not a lot. Triple's back up. He's got the wave clear to stop anything from 100 Thieves. And we're back. We're back, Magical. Woo! We're back to the position where neither team has an obvious advantage on the map. These inhibitors are still up. 100 Thieves are able to wave clear. Tenacity is once again in a side lane. And it's going to be a vision game. Yet again, it's the same thing, Magical.
Oh my
both
God.
Both of our series. First one, we saw EGA versus FlyQuest. It was all about these push and pull in the mid game. This one is all about vision. Who gets one shot? Who is just going to disappear off the map? Again, Tenacity, Jimmy, Rosethorn, Jenkins.
Tenacity right there takes a little bit of damage from at triple, getting away. But this is where we look at who's going to carry, and the top side of the map is very strong for 100 Thieves. You have 4 items for both Tenacity and Will at this point, with the Leandries and Morellonomicon built by Will to get that sustained damage over time onto these members of CLG. But then counter that, you look at how Meech has been building up. He's got an Immortal Shield Bow and that Bloodthirster.
Yeah, he's staying alive for quite a long time, right? Got a lot of lifesteal, has the QSS. And Jenkins, even though he's, 100 CS down, he's almost even in gold with Tenacity because of how strong Parlay is, all the extra gold he gets from it. And he is also threatening to one-shot people with this build. He's got the Infinity Edge. He's got the 60% crit. He's actually got 75%. So 3/4 of the time, he hits somebody and they take 80 to 90% of their HP instantly gone. So, Jenkins, if he's not confined down to a side lane matching Tenacity, and he gets to actually line up and try and look for these barrels to blow up Busio, Will, BMFX, Jimmy, he becomes a real threat as well. But Jimmy, he's got the package, and it should still be up for when this next dragon spawns.
15 seconds? Well, more like 10 seconds now. That time has elapsed until it spawns. That could be a Cloud Soul for the side of CLG with 3 Clouds already in their inventory. The movement speed they can get moving around the map, trying to make sure they're always in a position to counteract what 100 Thieves are doing, could be wise for them, but they are not there in time. It is going to be 100 Thieves securing themselves a soul point potential as well.
Yeah, look at the damage that Jimmy does, just like messing around with Rosethorn.
Oh. Looking at that, I'm also looking at the damage that Triple can do. The package still, well, actually, package timed out. It just timed out, so now they don't have that advantage from Jimmy.
Yeah, that could have been disastrous if they recognized that the package was not going to be there, but the tidal wave going wide.
But
Still waiting.
And the Grand Challenge. It was flashed by Jenkins to get over the wall, so that way he didn't have to worry. And now, Tenacity is split up from the rest of the team with the Baron spawning up. This could be a potential dance and fight around the Purple Worm again.
Bam!
Okay, Jenkins took a lot of damage. Rosethorn still on top of the worm, getting down to 50%, but they turn. They're looking for Tenacity, but look at the damage coming in from BMX on the Breezy with Rosethorn going wide and going deep into the back lines, even getting in the Guardian's Angel and getting the stopwatch out of Bucio. But now the fight is turning. CLG, they look like they had the angle. They get the shutdown for Meech. Meech versus Tenacity. Who's stronger? Meech dove in. He gets the Guardian's Angel, but Jimmian finds himself a quadra kill. The only one left is Jenkins. Penta. It's stolen away by Tenacity. But it's still the game for 100 Thieves.
It's still absolutely wild, right? We didn't quite see the one-shot, but Jimmian and Tenacity did so much damage in that last team fight. They found the targets that they needed to, and all of our fights have been absolutely wild in this game. Every single one back and forth, lots of people dying because there's no established battle lines whatsoever. But 100 Thieves, they thrive in this environment. They're so individually talented. They can figure out who their targets are, and now as they look to end the game, looks like they're going to topple CLG and go 2-0 today.
Only Breezy's now up, trying to defend the base for 10 more seconds, but I don't think they're going to be able to last that long, especially with no more Nexus Hurts surviving. You've gone golden. Jamian's wailing away at the Nexus. They want this game. They want the 2-0 victory over CLG.
This wasn't the same kind of dominance that we saw last week from the members of 100 Thieves, right? But it still is inexorable. They slowly grind it down. Tenacity, a monster in the side lane. We got to see that Jimmy, even on a day that felt kind of off from him, he's still an important carry threat. You can't ignore him. You can't just let him sit here and scale and take over the game later on. This is the kind of team that 100 Thieves have been looking for a long time, and there's so much ready to go for this roster. Can't wait to see what they do next week.
Same here, especially 2 really close games. The rest of this week is going to be fun to watch from 100 Thieves. But for now, we're going to toss a break. And when we come back, we'll have our host here, possibly for an interview. Make sure you stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Verizon post-game interview. I'm Mazel, and I'm joined by the star jungler for 100 Thieves Academy. I've got Will with me. I was trying to set up an interview last week. We had technical difficulties. I promised you we were going to get you an interview. We got it. Welcome back to Academy, Will. What an incredible moment to be able to see you back in the Academy sphere. I was very, very excited for you back on Dignitas and to see you here after some personal accomplishments for your own. I think it feels good, doesn't it? Do you feel pretty good to be back in Academy?
Yeah, I mean, it feels pretty good. I improved a lot over off season and the beginning of this year. So I've been excited to play for since spring, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I love it, man. Well, you starting off pretty strong, I will say. 9-3 for 100 Thieves Academy. 2-0 victory over CLG Academy, the winners of regular season last split. What do you have to say for the whole dominance angle here? Do you guys just working together super well, or is it a strategy? Is it coaching? What's going on?
I mean, I think my top laner is definitely like smurfing on all of them, and
I'd say that
I'd
helps.
say I'd say we could have played better, definitely me, but like overall we were just a bit more consistent, and that's what got us to win in the end.
So the whole team is formed. Voltron, all the pieces are together. Busio's now back finally from the Korean boot camp. How does it feel to have all the team together? And what do you feel like the expectations for 100 Thieves Academy can be this split?
It feels pretty good so far. Like definitely when Busio came back, like the first set of scrims, it felt like really good playing with them. Like pretty easy to build synergy. Like he's easy to talk to. It's like he's a really good teammate overall. And what was the other part again?
Just having the whole team back together, right, and functioning today. Like, what do you think the expectations can be for this team coming all together?
I mean, I think we could definitely win PG. Uh, I think to win PG, we all have to do improving. Especially me, like I think I could be playing a lot better, especially in like scrims and matches. And I think if I can get to a point where I'm good enough, I'll be able to win proving grounds.
I like it. Hey, good expectations to have, I would say. Have you been doing anything for team bonding, communication? I mean, it is a lot of new pieces to the squad that was so dominant last split. What have you guys been doing behind the scenes?
Um, Go to the gym. There's a hill we walk up
Nice.
by the compound. We go walk the hill in the mornings before games. Always eat as a team. You know, just little stuff like that all adds up, though. You know.
It all does, man. It's all about making that team environment feel good, which is something I feel like 100 Thieves has had a decent amount of in the past as well. Well, I want to talk to you, Will, personally. You as a player. I know I talked about the team, talked about everybody coming together, all that stuff, but Will, you're back in Academy, man. You're here to prove yourself. Talk to the Will fans. Talk to anybody that wants to listen. What are your goals as a player, as the jungler for 100 Thieves Academy in Academy this split?
Well, first I want to win PG. And then in the future, of course, I want to play for LCS. But my main goal is just to improve as fast as possible and be on the fastest track for LCS. And Dominate Academy would be on the lines of those goals. So main goal just to keep improving.
I look forward to more of those post game flexes after the dubs there for sure. Do you have any shout outs you want to give to anybody before we let you go?
Shout out to my dad for he's been really supportive in the move to LA and like just overall with the 100 Thieves move, like with the job and everything. Just big shout out to my dad. He's always been there for me. And to 100 Thieves, it's been great so far being on the team.
Thank you so much, Will. I appreciate getting to chat with you. I'm sure I'll get to chat with you a lot more for the rest of the split. Go enjoy the wins and come back ready for tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
All righty, gonna say goodbye to Will. I'll go ahead and bring back Mr. Mad Magical and Joshi as we're gonna go ahead and round out the day here. And
I'm not a
do
Mister.
you want a Mister? Do you want?
I feel
I
I'll
prefer
take a
to be
doctor.
called King. I prefer to be called by my rightful
I'll
title.
go with the doctor. Doctor Joshi.
There's
And
Mr. Will, Mr. Magical, and
No,
Joshi,
it's not
I guess?
Mr. It's King
I
Magical.
like your name the most, though.
It's
I mean, I
King
feel like
Magical.
it stands alone. Okay, we have King Magical.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
We have
Flattery will get
Professor
you everywhere.
Joshi. But it was really nice to hear from Will. It was, getting to see him again, getting to see his face again, getting to see his play again in the split, and finally getting an interview with him. It's a really nice thing to hear a little bit out of a budding star from Academy, Joshi.
Yeah. He said that he feels like he's improved a lot since we last saw him on, I believe it was Dignitas Academy, right? And
Yep.
I agree. He definitely looks a lot better now. And I feel like he has a very similar attitude, at least in the interview, as what we heard from Malice, right? Winning is nice, but being better gets you wins.
Yes.
So that's definitely something that I'm going
mean-
to continue paying attention to. Does this guy continue to improve? How well is he going to be able to skyrocket his career? Because I know he has the ability to potentially play LCS one day, and I want to push him to actually make it. I think he's very close.
I'm more confused by being better gets you wins, because isn't that kind of like indicative of winning? Is that you're better?
Yeah, but there's a like.
Thinking about it too much. You're thinking about it too much.
You can play to win, or you could just be better, and over
Get
time
good.
that will get you more wins, right?
Yeah. I know the "Get Good" slogan. That's been burned into my brain all the time because people say it to me all the time.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's been a very, very fun day of games. Even though I was only here for the last little bit, I promise you that I was watching up my phone with all my lights
Please
out,
don't
and it
leave
was
me again.
dark.
Please don't leave me again. I don't.
I will not. I'll have a very strong talk with the power department.
Good.
We'll see how
Good.
it all works
Just
out. No,
do
but
what
it
I
was a
do when the
pleasure
power
to-
goes out, and just yell at the electrical circuit and look at the outlets and just yell at them. That way you
All right,
teach it a
I'll-
lesson.
And with my voice, I'll be able to make it work. Okay,
Exactly.
Well, I'll try to revisit that. Maybe a video coming later. But we got to talk about tomorrow because before we send everybody off to the Academy stream to finish out the day, we got to talk about what's going on tomorrow. We're gonna be same time, same place tomorrow. Another set of 5 full best of 2s. And I think that one's going to be a really fun one. I believe we have the schedule that'll come up here very shortly. And it will, perfect timing, here on the Path to LCS stream. Same time, same place. We got FlyQuest Academy, CLG Academy. Then Dignitas Academy taking on Cloud9 Academy. That one's going to be a really fun one. Over on the twitch.tv/Academy channel, we'll have EGA versus IMTA. TSM Academy versus Team Liquid Academy. I know I'm watching that one. 100 Thieves Academy versus Golden Guardians Academy as well. Any standouts there, Magical?
TSM versus Team Liquid. I actually am really excited for that one because to me, TSM are this team, they have newer players. They're really trying to invest in like upcoming talent development process, and I actually respect them immensely for that. And I want to see how they compare against Team Liquid, our current reigning champions from Peru Grand Spring. And if they can at least, like, especially for the likes of Seoul or even for Takeover, to come into this matchup and try to see if they can win out their lanes, that would be a big step for them because they got tough competition. Bradley and Harry, respectively, are insanely talented players. So if they're able to either hold their own or even get the better of their competition, that's going to speak volumes for TSM in their future.
It is. Joshi, you got anything that particularly stands out to you, Mr. Professor?
I mean, I think it's FlyQuest versus CLG, right? Like, these two teams are
Yeah.
both fighting to show that they are some of our top teams, and they haven't just been benefiting from some of the strength of schedule that they've had thus far. And I think both of these teams have fighting chances, right? We've been seeing very different styles coming out from both of them. CLG are a little bit stronger in, like, the mid game, I would say, from what we've seen from FlyQuest. But FlyQuest, strong lanes, decent late game, and it's definitely a situation where both these teams are still trying to show that they're the complete package.
Exactly that. But again, just want to give a huge shout out to you guys for trooping on the day. Thank you so much, Magical, for stepping in as the pseudo host with your tic-tac-toe shenanigans that now I have to go recreate in my own game show. And Joshi for sticking with them.
Before we end the show, we end the show. So Josh, you asked who was on that please sign us please team. I have the answer. So Eclipse was top lane, Josie was jungle, Freeze, aka Bradley, was the mid laner, BMFX, and Weiss.
Oh, that's a pretty decent team.
Yeah.
Pretty decent, I'd say.
Yeah, so a couple of those players have been playing Academy or better since then.
It's kind of like that. It's crazy. No, but it's been a pleasure to even step in briefly for the last little bit. Thank you guys for humoring me with my 2 truths and a lie game show. Production, you guys are amazing. Thank you for actually making this work, even with my power outages, and you still made the show run so smoothly. So thank you all behind the scenes, the audience for tuning in for the whole day of these guys' shenaniganeries. But now it's time to shoo you off, because we have places to go, we got places to be, and it is the Academy channel. That's where we're all going. If you're cool, you got the invite. If you're not, you can go anyways, because it's just a Twitch link. So go to twitch.tv/academy. Go enjoy Cloud9 Academy versus Team Liquid Academy, and we'll see you on the Rift.